The screams still echoed in Dr. Brian Jackson's mind. Timmy's screams as the Galactic Council guards gunned down his 8-year-old son in cold blood. Brian and his wife Sarah had brought Timmy with them on a diplomatic mission to the Council headquarters on planet Zephyria. They never imagined the Council would murder an innocent child to provoke a war with Earth. But the alien extremists wanted humanity destroyed before it could threaten their galactic dominance. News of Timmy's assassination ignited a firestorm of anguish and outrage across human space. Riots erupted on Earth and its colonies. Billions demanded blood for blood. They cried for war against the Council and its ruthless Ladosian leader, Chancellor Janus. Earth's President Amara Salim shared their fury. She ordered the immediate mobilization of Earth's war fleet, 500,000 ships to unleash humanity's wrath upon Zephyria. Destroyers, battleships, fighters, and mammoth carriers powered up their engines and weapons. Janus gloated in response, broadcasting his intention to wipe humanity from the stars. His superior numbers and tech would crush the upstart humans and their pathetic fleet. As the bereaved Dr. Jackson watched the dueling declarations of war, one thought consumed him: vengeance. He enlisted as a science officer in Earth's expeditionary force. He would ensure humanity triumphed, for Timmy, for Earth. The Council's cruelty would be its downfall. Mankind would never stop until the enemy was ash beneath its boots. The aliens wanted war. Now they would learn what it meant to awaken the fury of Earth. The EAS retribution surged through the starry void, a gleaming arrow aimed at the heart of the Galactic Council. In its wake stretched the massed ranks of Earth's war fleet, 500,000 strong. Destroyers, battleships, fighters and carriers, an armada to shake the cosmos. On the Retribution's bridge, Admiral Raphael Osiris surveyed the tactical displays with hawkish eyes. Tall and broad-shouldered, with iron-gray hair and a jagged scar bisecting his jaw, Osiris was a living legend, a veteran of a dozen campaigns against humanity's enemies. Now he commanded the spearhead of Earth's fury, driving deep into Galactic Council space. Admiral, long-range scans show a massive energy signature ahead, near the Aldebaran system, called out the sensor officer. Spectrographic analysis indicates Council ships, thousands of them. Osiris's lips thinned. So, the Council seeks to bar our path. He turned to face his crew. They will learn the folly of underestimating human persistence. All ships, battle stations, prepare to engage the enemy. Alarm klaxons blared as the fleet readied for battle. In the Retribution's lab decks, Dr. Brian Jackson checked his restraints as the ship shuddered around him. Timmy's photo, taped above his console, smiled down at him. Jackson's eyes hardened as he resumed his frantic work, fingers flying over the holo displays. Somehow, some way, he would find a vulnerability in the aliens' defenses. For Timmy. On the displays, the Aldebaran blockade swelled into view, a glittering swarm of alien warships from dozens of subject species, all loyal to the Council. At their center loomed the vast disk of a Ladosian command dreadnought, easily thrice the size of the Retribution. Here was a force that could devastate entire systems. Osiris smiled coldly. The Council ships looked sleek and menacing, but the Admiral knew the human fleet was more than a match. Let Janus throw his lapdogs at the hammer of Earth. They would break upon its edge. All ships, fire at will. Let's show these alien bastards what humans are made of. With a silent ripple of pseudo-motion, the war fleet accelerated to attack speed. Osiris watched with grim satisfaction as the first energy torpedoes split the darkness, the vanguard of a hurricane. On the Retribution's bridge, the comm channels crackled to life as ship after ship checked in. The fleet hurtled toward the blockade, weapons hot and sensors straining. Osiris clenched a fist as human and alien ships alike disgorged fighter wings like swarming locusts. The battle for Aldebaran had begun. Gunnery, fire the phase cannons. Carve me a path through that blockade, Osiris snarled. The Retribution shuddered as its massive spinal guns erupted, lancing out with scintillating beams of exotic particles. Alien shields flared and popped like soap bubbles as the beams tore through them, punching deep into the hulls beyond. Fireballs blossomed as council ships ruptured and died. The Retribution waded into the thick of the battle, weapons blazing. All around it, the human fleet did the same, striking the blockade forces like a whirlwind of blades. On his console, Dr. Jackson stiffened as his algorithm spat back an impossible result. The shield harmonics, they were fluctuating according to an unnatural pattern, a pattern no random technology could produce. His breath caught. Could it be? An inhuman howl split the air as a Ladosian battlecruiser shattered under the Retribution's guns, but Jackson barely noticed. His mind whirled with the implications of what he'd discovered. Somewhere deep in the council ships, something was orchestrating this battle, something that knew humanity was coming and had prepared a trap. Jackson stabbed at his comms, already dreading what he had to report. "Bridge, this is Dr. Jackson. We have a problem." "Bridge, this is Dr. Jackson. We have a problem." Admiral Osiris turned sharply, his scarred face tightening. "Report, Doctor." Jackson's voice crackled over the comm, urgent and strained. "The shield harmonics of the council ships. They're following an artificial pattern. This isn't random. Something or someone knew we were coming." Osiris's eyes narrowed. "A trap," he growled. Before he could respond further, the sensor officer called out, "Admiral, new contacts emerging from hyperspace." The tactical display flickered, a swarm of red dots materializing at the edge of the system. Osiris leaned forward, studying the readouts. His breath caught as recognition dawned. "Cryath warships," he muttered. "What in blazes are they doing here?" The insectoid Cryath were renowned for their strict neutrality in galactic affairs. Their presence here, now, defied explanation. "Sir," the comms officer interjected, "we're being hailed by the Cryath flagship." Osiris squared his shoulders. "On screen." The view screen flared to life, revealing the chitinous visage of a Cryath matriarch. Her compound eyes glittered with alien intelligence as she regarded the human admiral. "I am Warrior Queen Zakara of the Cryath Hive," she clicked, mandibles twitching. "We request an immediate audience, Admiral Osiris. The fate of humanity and all alien species may hinge on what we have to tell you." Osiris exchanged a glance with his XO. This was unprecedented. "Very well," he replied cautiously. "I'll meet you aboard your vessel. Prepare to receive my shuttle." Minutes later, Osiris strode into the cavernous audience chamber of the Cryath flagship, Dr. Jackson at his side. The air was thick with pheromones, making the human's eyes water. Zakara loomed before them, her exoskeleton gleaming. "We have no love for your kind, humans," she began bluntly, "but we have even less for traitors and oath-breakers." With a gesture, she activated a hollow projector. Images flickered to life, surveillance footage, classified documents, comm logs. Jackson gasped as he recognized a face. That's the guard who shot Timmy," he whispered, voice raw. Zakara's antennae twitched. "Chancellor Janus and his inner circle have betrayed not just humanity, but the entire Galactic Council. They orchestrated your son's murder, Dr. Jackson, and that was merely the beginning." As the evidence unfolded before them, Osiris felt a cold fury building in his chest. The corruption ran deeper than they'd ever imagined, a cancer at the heart of galactic civilization. "Why tell us this?" he demanded. "Why involve yourselves now?" Zakara's mandibles clicked rapidly, the Cryath equivalent of a humorless laugh. "Because Janus represents a threat to us all. His ambitions will not stop with humanity. We Cryath value honor above all else, and there is no honor in standing idle while madmen burn the galaxy." Osiris's mind raced, calculating possibilities, weighing risks and rewards. He met Zakara's alien gaze. "Then perhaps," he said slowly, "it's time we discussed an alliance." Back aboard the Retribution, Osiris called an emergency briefing. As he laid out the situation to his senior staff, the mood in the room grew grim. "We're setting course for Zephyria," he concluded. "Our new Cryath allies will accompany us. But this is no longer just about vengeance or even justice for Earth. The very foundations of the Galactic Council are at stake. He turned to Dr. Jackson. I need you working with the Cryath scientists. Analyze every scrap of evidence. We need an ironclad case against Janus and his co-conspirators. Jackson nodded, a fire burning in his eyes. I won't let you down, Admiral. I won't let Timmy down. As the staff filed out, Osiris's XO lingered. Sir, she said quietly, if we're right about this, we could be looking at the collapse of galactic civilization as we know it. Osiris's expression resolute. I know, but the truth has to come out, whatever the cost. He gazed out at the stars, feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. The Retribution's engines thrummed as it accelerated towards Zephyria, towards a confrontation that would shake the cosmos. In the science lab, Jackson pored over the Cryath data, searching for the key that would bring his son's killers to justice. And in the vast, cold depths of space, two fleets, human and Cryath, forged onward, an unlikely alliance bound by the pursuit of truth. The reckoning was coming, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Retribution dropped out of hyperspace above Zephyria, its hull gleaming in the light of the planet's twin suns. Beside it, the Cryath vessels shimmered into existence, their organic forms a stark contrast to the angular human ships. Admiral Osiris stood on the bridge, his eyebrows furrowed as he gazed at the sprawling metropolis below. Open a channel to the council chambers, he ordered. The comm officer nodded. Channel open, sir. Osiris's voice rang out, firm and unyielding. This is Admiral Raphael Osiris of Earth. I demand an emergency council session. We have evidence of Chancellor Janus's involvement in galactic-scale crimes, including the assassination of Earth citizens. Silence stretched for long seconds before a flustered voice responded. This is highly irregular, Admiral. The Council cannot simply— You will convene, Osiris interrupted, or we will consider it an admission of guilt. In the Council chambers, delegates from 100 worlds murmured and shifted uneasily. Chancellor Janus, a tall Ladosian with mottled gray skin, rose to address the assembly. My fellow council members, he began, his voice smooth as silk. These accusations are baseless. Clearly the humans seek to— The chamber doors burst open. Admiral Osiris strode in, flanked by Dr. Jackson and Warrior Queen Zakara. Jackson's hands shook as he clutched a data drive. Baseless? Osiris's voice cut through the rising whispers. Then explain this. He nodded to a technician, and the chamber's hollow projectors flared to life. Images and documents flooded the air. Surveillance footage, communiques, financial records. At their center, the face of the guard who had gunned down Timmy Jackson. Gasps and cries of shock echoed through the chamber. Some counselors leapt to their feet, shouting denials. Others sat frozen, their expressions a mix of horror and guilt. As the evidence mounted, Janus's composure cracked. His eyes darted left and right, seeking escape. Meanwhile, deep beneath the council spire, Commander Elena Kozlov led her strike team through shadowy corridors. Beside her moved Zorkath, the Cryath strategist, his chitinous armor gleaming dully. Security hub ahead, Zorkath clicked. Heavy resistance, likely. Kozlov nodded, signaling her team. Breach on my mark. 3, 2, 1, go! The door exploded inward. Human and Cryath commandos surged through the opening, their weapons spitting fire. Ladosian guards fell before the onslaught, caught unprepared by the surgical strike. Kozlov vaulted a console, her boot connecting with a guard's face. Zorkath, start the hack! The Cryath's appendages flew over the alien interfaces, bypassing firewalls and security protocols. Accessing encrypted files, now. Above, in the council chamber, Chancellor Garrix of the Etherians rose to speak. The tall, blue-skinned alien's voice quavered. These accusations, they cannot be true. Janus has served the council for decades. A sudden commotion erupted near Garrix. A figure lunged forward, a weapon glinting. A human bodyguard tackled the would-be assassin, the two crashing to the floor in a tangle of limbs. The weapon discharged, the energy bolt searing a hole in the ceiling. Garrick staggered back, eyes wide. As guards subdued the attacker, she turned to face Janus, her expression hardening. "You," she hissed, "you would murder me in front of the entire council?" Janus snarled, his mask of civility crumbling. "Fools! You cannot stop what I've set in motion." He raised his arm, revealing a concealed communicator. "Execute Order Omega." Alarms blared throughout the council spire. The chamber descended into chaos as delegates scrambled for exits. Osiris's voice cut through the pandemonium. "All Earth forces, this is Admiral Osiris. Janus has initiated a coup. Engage all hostile forces. I repeat, engage all hostile forces." Outside, the skies above Zephyria's capital filled with ships as Janus's loyalists clashed with those still faithful to the council. Energy weapons lanced between vessels, painting the atmosphere with deadly light. On the ground, brutal urban warfare erupted. Earth troops deployed from dropships, joining the fray alongside loyal council forces. Entire city blocks became battlegrounds, the sounds of combat echoing through once peaceful streets. In the war room aboard the Retribution, Osiris surveyed tactical displays with iron will. "Target these key facilities," he ordered, highlighting objectives. "Surgical strikes only. We can't afford collateral damage." Dr. Jackson approached, his face haggard. "Admiral, I have a suggestion. The Cryath possess bioweapons that could incapacitate Janus's forces without—" Osiris cut him off with a sharp gesture. "No bioweapons, Doctor. We're here to save lives, not become the monsters we're fighting." Jackson's shoulders slumped, but he nodded in understanding. A frantic call came in from the planet's surface. "Admiral, Janus has activated some kind of automated defense system. We're being overrun by robotic swarms." Osiris turned to Jackson. "Doctor, I need solutions, now." As Jackson bent over his console, fingers flying, the battle for Zephyria's future raged on. The hope of the universe hung in the balance, with Earth and its unlikely allies standing as the last bulwark against Janus's mad ambitions. The battle for Zephyria raged for days, but in the end, Earth's forces prevailed. Admiral Osiris stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching as the last pockets of resistance crumbled. "We have him, sir," Commander Kozlov's voice crackled over the comm. "Janus is in custody." Osiris's scarred face remained impassive. "Bring him to the council chambers. It's time to face justice." Hours later, Osiris strode into the battered council spire, Dr. Jackson and Warrior Queen Zakara flanking him. The chamber buzzed with tension as delegates from 100 worlds filled the seats, many still bearing the marks of recent combat. Janus was dragged in, his once immaculate robes torn and dirty. His eyes burned with defiance as he was forced to his knees before the assembly. Chancellor Garrix rose, her blue skin ashen with fatigue. "We are gathered here to—" "To what?" Janus spat. "To perpetuate this farce? This broken system?" Garrix's eyes narrowed. "Be silent, traitor. You will—" "No!" Garrix's voice cut through the chamber like a knife. "He's right." A collective gasp rippled through the delegates. Osiris felt his stomach drop. Garrix's voice grew stronger. "This council, this entire system, it's rotten to the core. Janus is merely a symptom of a greater disease." She turned, addressing the stunned assembly. "I move for the complete dissolution of the Galactic Council." Chaos erupted. Delegates leapt to their feet, shouting accusations and counter-proposals. Osiris watched in growing alarm as the fragile alliance that had won the war began to fracture before his eyes. To his surprise, Zakara clicked her mandibles in agreement. "The Aetherian speaks truth. This bureaucracy has shackled us all for too long." As the debate raged, Janus began to laugh. Osiris turned to him, eyes hard. "You find this amusing?" Janus grinned, a mad light in his eyes. "Oh, Admiral, you've done exactly what I wanted. You've torn down the walls that held 1,000 worlds in check. Now watch as your precious galaxy descends into chaos." Osiris felt a chill run down his spine. He exchanged a glance with Dr. Jackson, seeing his own fear mirrored in the scientist's eyes. For weeks, the arguments continued. Factions formed and dissolved. Threats of war were made and retracted. Through it all, Osiris and his team worked tirelessly, trying to broker a compromise that would preserve some semblance of galactic order. Finally, after endless debate, a solution emerged. The old council would be dissolved, replaced by a new body called the Pax Galactica. It would be leaner, more accountable, stripped of the bloat that had allowed corruption to flourish. As the final votes were tallied, Osiris stood with Dr. Jackson on a balcony overlooking the Zephyrian capital. The scars of war were still visible, but signs of rebuilding were everywhere. "We did it," Jackson said softly. "We got justice for Timmy." Osiris nodded, but his expression remained grim. "At what cost, Doctor? Look at the messages coming in from the outer systems. Pirate attacks are on the rise. There are whispers of something stirring beyond the galactic rim." Jackson's face fell. "So what now?" Osiris turned, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "Now, we go home, we rebuild, and we prepare. Because I have a feeling this was just the beginning." As the Retribution broke orbit, carrying Earth's heroes home, Osiris couldn't shake the sense that the true test was yet to come. The galaxy had changed, for better or worse, and humanity's role in it was far from certain.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.